Nightfall, a story by Isabel Biermann and Anjeneth Stephen. I never believed in legends. When the wood creaks, it's not a ghost. When doors close behind you, it's just the wind. And when there is a grotesque creature following you, it's a kid dressed up for Halloween. I never believed in legends. Until now.
The doctor said the heart isn't beating regularly all the time. They are concerned, but if I'm careful, it will all be good.
Are you sure?
Yes, don't worry.
She smiled at me. I stroked over her big belly, smiling too. 7 months in. There shouldn't be anything to go wrong now.
I will have to get going now. I am afraid it will be late. Half of the staff is on vacation.
Why didn't you take yours?
I will have to take enough time off when the baby is there. Now we need money.
She nodded, and I got going. The office really seemed empty without all my annoying colleagues. As it got darker, I started to look out of the window repeatedly. Something seemed kinda off, but I didn't know what. I got tired and looked at the clock, yawning. Midnight. I poured myself another coffee. Suddenly, I hesitated. Something stood out there, outside the window. Not unusual in a big city like this, but that person was staring at me. I don't even know if it was an actual person. It looked fuzzy. The shadows didn't let me see the face, but it seemed to be surrounded by long black hair, which was floating. I pressed my eyelids together. Seems like I desperately needed some sleep. When I opened them again, the vision was gone. I sighed, sat down, and nipped at the hot coffee. The rest of the night passed without any weird events. That girl must have been some sort of homeless person, looking for a place to sleep. I went home, finding my wife sleeping safe and sound. I went to bed, snuggling up to her and my baby. That's the part that's worth a long night of work. Coming home. But still, despite my exhaustion, my thoughts always drifted back to the weird woman. Her face, hidden in the shadows, even followed me into my dreams. I was in a crowd of people. Everyone was dressed up for a special event. Even I wore a suit. We were at some kind of park. As I looked closer in their faces, they all seemed sad. Oh, I thought. I was on a funeral. I wondered who was buried here that so many people cared about. I walked closer to the surrounded tombstone. Wait. No, this couldn't be right. No, it was the name. I gulped back a sob. This isn't right. My wife's name, dated today. I couldn't breathe. But then something else caught my attention. A smaller tombstone, placed directly beneath it. I realized what it was. A grave for someone who never came to live. For my unborn child. I saw floating hair in the distance and started screaming. I woke up, soaked in sweat. My wife was calmly breathing beside me, even mumbling silently in her sleep. I sighed. What the hell was that? Maybe I should really take a day off. My fingers went to my dry throat, and I got up to get a glass of water, carefully stepping on the carpet, not to make a sound. I didn't turn on the kitchen lights. My eyes were tired. As I gulped down the cold water, my eyes started to the window, wondering if I'd see the woman there. It was nothing, just the pitching black of the night. I sighed, again, leaning my back against the cold glass. Suddenly, I heard an annoying meowing from outside. Probably the neighbor's cat had trapped itself on a tree again. I turned around, annoyed, probably because I would be the one to get the poor animal down there again. I froze. The blackness was gone. Instead, I saw a horrific mixture of pale skin and dark hair, with an open mouth and black tears streaming down the colorless cheeks. My mind registered that in a second before my gaze started up to the eyes. They were blood red, staring into my soul. I was shaking. The hair was wild and fuzzy, floating around her like the lenses of a sun. Her stare deepened, and I wanted to scream, but then I heard a husky voice, seemingly coming from outside the window. "Death!" the woman said, in her bitter tone. Then she suddenly disappeared. I buried my face in my hands. What the hell was going on? That wasn't a dream. But this woman, she couldn't be human. I suddenly gasped, remembering the dream I had. Cold sweat ran down my back. My wife! She was in danger! I ran into the bedroom as fast as I could. I slammed the door open, not caring to be silent anymore. My wife stood beside the bed, not moving, but breathing.
Honey?
I said hesitantly. She didn't seem to recognize me.
Are you okay?
Nothing. I stepped closer to her. She didn't move. Did nothing. I felt that something was horribly wrong. Suddenly, I heard a noise. Drip. I stopped moving. Drip. Again. Drip. 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 I looked down at her legs. Drip. They were full of blood. I gasped and almost fell down.
No!
I screamed. I had to do something. Suddenly, I heard wailing. It seemed to be everywhere, desperate and broken. The woman was there again, next to my wife. She screamed and cried.
Please don't!
I begged.
She's the love of my life. Please, leave her.
The woman stared at me, but still got closer to my wife.
Don't! She's pregnant. Don't take both of my beloved.
The woman stopped wailing and stared at me. There was something in her gaze, something familiar. Pity? She stared at me for a while longer and then just disappeared. I felt relief rushing through me, but then my wife dropped on the floor. I ran to her and shook her body. It was so cold, too cold. I called the emergency service and they brought her into the hospital. I held her cold hand for the whole ride. I knew she wouldn't make it, but I couldn't let go. In the hospital, they announced the obvious. She was dead. But then they told me another thing, what made my puffy eyes dart up again. The baby was still alive. They were about to get it out now. Despite the angry nurse following me, I ran into the delivery room. I heard crying. Could that be? Was my child really alive? The doctors handed me over a small bundle.
It's a girl,
I said. I cried, like the baby in my arms. I looked at it. everything that was left from my wife. The baby calmed down and opened its eyes to muster me. They were red.